Parshas KiTisa deals with many issues, but one is in the middle of talking about many things. It talks about the mitzvah of Shabbos. The Torah tells us, "Vayomer Hashem Moshe Lemor, V'ata daberu b'nei Yisrael Lemor." Speak to the Jewish people. Ach eshabsosai tishmoru. You make sure to keep the Shabbos. Ki osi beini v'nechem. It should be a sign for all future generations. So even though we already discussed Shabbos, one of the Aseres Hadibros we just had a couple of weeks ago in Parashas Yisro, Zochar Shom HaShabbos L'Kadsho, we learned out the mitzvah Shabbos, and the Gemara learns out, Chazal tell us, Zochar v'Shamar b'dibur echad, and that Zochar v'Shamar were given in one breath. In other words, both the positive mitzvahs and the negatives. So we see Shabbos already was given, so why repeat it here? We'll see it's given in the context of the Mishkan, and even though we just finished saying how important the building of the Mishkan is, you might think that's more important than Shabbos, or you might think it supersedes Shabbos. So we reiterate the mitzvah of Shabbos to tell us that on Shabbos we don't build for the Mishkan. However, right afterwards it says, Ach eshabsoi tishmor. But Ach is always a limitation, always an exception. However, it's true, when you're building the Mishkan, it's not Docha Shabbos. However, there are other exceptions to the rule. The Ach is telling me there's certain times where there's a mitzvah not to keep Shabbos. Not only is it okay to desecrate the Shabbos, it's a mitzvah, i.e., someone's life is in danger. Somebody's going to die, and therefore you have to rush them to the hospital, go to the doctor, etc. So, that 99% of the time you have to keep Shabbos, but there are certain times where keeping Shabbos is not the right way. In fact, if someone's life is in danger and they don't want to desecrate the Shabbos, that's the only way they could save themselves. So the post can bring down that perhaps you have to force them, against their will even, to violate the Shabbos in order to save their life. It's a general machlokas rishon, and we know for the big three, the three cardinal sins, idol worship, avodah zarah, murder, ritzicha, and gila arayis, illicit relations. For the big three, if someone forces you to do it, so one is a mitzvah of Kiddush Hashem, to give up your life. However, Shabbos, you don't have. In fact, the Gemara, that's why we have many times with Shabbos, because the Gemara equates one who doesn't keep Shabbos to an idol worshiper, because by God created the world 6 days and we rest on the seventh. So when we rest, we show an act of imitation that we believe that God created the world on 6 days and rested on the seventh. So someone who desecrates the Shabbos shows they don't believe it. So many places the Gemara equates a machalo Shabbos, a desecrator of Shabbos, ki'u obed avodah zarah, like someone who's worshipping idols. So nevertheless, I might think that maybe you're allowed to give up your life, or maybe you have to. The answer is no. When it comes to Shabbos, we say that one should violate the Shabbos. It's a machlokas rishonim, the Rambam and the Balitosis in general. Let's say it's not one of the big three, so then I'm not obligated to give up my life, but can I? Let's say someone says, I want you to desecrate the Shabbos or I'll kill you. I want you to eat treif, eat non-kosher, or I'll kill you. So according to Tosfos, you have the option, but we don't assume like the Balitosis, we assume like the Rambam, Harezem is chayev nafsho. It's almost like committing suicide. One is not permitted to refuse to eat kosher or keep Shabbos. If it's a choice of saving your life, you have a mitzvah, you have an obligation to keep Shabbos. This is like on Yom Kippur. If one is a chole sheyesh bo sakana, one who is very sick and he has to eat to save his life, but if he doesn't eat, he'll put his life in danger. So it's not you doing Aveira of eating on Yom Kippur. For you, it's a mitzvah to eat on Yom Kippur. So So the Torah actually continues, V'shabu v'neisas ha-Shabbos, v'asos ha-Shabbos v'nosav v'salam. So the Gemara in Yuma has different drushes. How do we know that your life takes precedence over the Shabbos? So the Gemara marshals different sources. One is a pasuk V'shabu v'neisas ha-Shabbos, v'asos ha-Shabbos v'dorosam v'salam, that we keep the Torah for future generations. That the Gemara has a drasha, better the machalo Shabbos achas kedei sheyishmor Shabbosos harbe. Better to violate one Shabbos in order that you could keep many more. That's one of the sources. So therefore, machalo Shabbos here to save the life. Others quote, we know the halacha by Milah, that one who, if the 8th day falls on Shabbos, we do the Milah even on Shabbos. So if we desecrate Shabbos, or if Milah supersedes Shabbos, that only involves one limb in our body, one part of the body, one organ, how much more so if it involves our whole life? And others use the pasuk v'chai bahem. The mitzvah is to live by them and not die by them. And the poskim discusses perhaps differences between the sources. Let's say it's a fetus. Let's say a woman's pregnant and the fetus is going to die if you don't desecrate the Shabbos, but there's no danger to mommy. In practice, there might be enough of a doubt, but hypothetically, that the fetus is in danger, not the mother. Are you letting machalo Shabbos for the fetus? So if it's based on v'chai bahem, although that only applies to a full nefesh, someone who's alive, so perhaps then you wouldn't be able to. However, according to the drasha, better to machalo Shabbos achas, in order to keep many more, clearly this fetus has potential to fulfill many more mitzvahs. So therefore, those are the different sources in terms of the mitzvah of human life, of Jewish life, superseding the Shabbos. In fact, Shulchan Aruch tells us, based on the Yerushalmi, that it says one of the first halachas a Rav has to teach the community is the importance of human life. That if someone's going to die, and in Shabbos, they have to know that don't ask any questions. In Shabbos, go ahead, go straight to the doctor, straight to the hospital. It says, whoever asks the questions, ke'ilu shofech damim, it's like they're shedding blood. On the other hand, it says, Nishma, the one who is asked, hareza maguna, it's not a good thing. Like, what do you want from me? I was asked, why is it my problem? It's your problem because you should have taught the people that they should know the halachas. And the fact that people don't know about the halachas, that's why, since people don't know about the halachas, that's why they're asking the effort to reflection on the Rav, or whoever the mentor, whoever's supposed to teach the people. So that's what the Torah is telling us here in the middle of the Mishkan, and then we see right afterwards, with the Luchos and the Cheder Ego, it gives us the mitzvah of Shabbos. So we see, on one hand, we know the different types of kedushas. There's a kedusha hamakom, like the Beis Hamikdash, sanctity of place. There's kedusha hazman, that's the Shabbos, Yantif. And then there's kedushas. So we see what's more important, kedushas hamakom or kedushas man. So we see sanctity of time takes precedence. Because we see, even though the Beis Hamikdash, the Mishkan, is very holy, nevertheless, we say when it comes to Shabbos, we don't build the Beis Hamikdash. So we see kedushas hazman takes precedence over Kedushas HaMakam. And we also know Aches Shabsosai Tishmoru, if someone's life is in danger, you desecrate the Shabbos in order to save the person. So we see Kedushas HaGuf, the holiness of an individual, that's even on a higher level than Kedushas HaZman. So the Chasam Sofer says, and we put all of it together, we see everyone is more chashav, a human being is more chashav than the Mishkan. Because the Mishkan, the holy Mishkan, which we assume is so holy, and it is, and it was, yet it can't desecrate. We don't desecrate the Shabbos, but we stop the building of the Mishkan on Shabbos. Yet, if human life is in danger, we do desecrate the Shabbos. So we see every person is more chashav. We see every person is more chashav than the Mishkan, because the Mishkan isn't Docha Shabbos, but human life is, and that's why. And even though Shabbos is Keilu Oved Avodah Zara, the one who desecrates the Shabbos, it's like you're worshiping idols. Nevertheless, we see Aches Shabsosai Tishmoru. Nevertheless, it's a mitzvah to take care of oneself, and even if it means desecrating the Shabbos, not only one should, one has an obligation to desecrate the Shabbos and save human life.